Hello everyone, it's Tom, it's FANzine Live, and we are here with the crowdfunded zines video. This is a crowdfunded book that was put out by a gentleman named Louis Sothard called Comics Are Dying, the Comic, the brief history of the comic book industry. And it was published with the help of Zoop, which is a comic-specific crowdfunding source. If you haven't looked at Zoop, it's a pretty good service. It says, for a better part of a century, people have said that comic books are dying. Crisis after crisis, the comic book industry has survived and lives to this day. So to celebrate its long and harrowing journey into the 21st century, a satirical original graphic novel, OGN, about the history of comic books has taken shape. Introducing the ironically named Comics Are Dying, the Comic, a brief history and celebration of the comic book industry. Curated and written by comic scribe Louis Sothard, the book is about the history of comic books using one-page short story comics with a new artist for every page. Main goal was to create a diverse team of over 100 people featuring a collective of established as well as up-and-coming artists from all walks of life for this. Comics Are Dying, the Comic, exists to create an educational, tongue-in-cheek, parodic, and optimistic book experience for budding comic fans and longtime readers. So yeah, this is, and there's a foreword by Mark Waid, the writer of many comics that we know about. And you can see Mr. Sothard has done the entire thing, and there are 100 pages of this. So there's Wade's part. And it starts at the beginning. Apparently, comics started September 14th of 1842. And I'm not going to read every page, but I do want to show you. It says, an American reprinting and adaptation of a Swiss story called Histoire de M'Vieux Bois by writer and artist Rodolphe Toppler inadvertently launches the U.S. comic industry and dooms us all. So there's the first comic, at least insofar as they say. So every page, and we're going through time. We started in 1842. We're now at 1849, 1892. Every page has a different comic. Now, of course, a lot of them are done parody style, and so you don't have the actual names of the actual figures of the characters. For example, this one here is the Yellow Kid. And the Yellow Kid never was a zombie or a skeleton type thing, but he did have his word balloon, if you will, right on the front of his shirt. And so that's Yellow Kid, and goes on. We've got some stuff happening over in Europe. Windsor McKay, a little bit there. We start getting into the pulps with Tarzan, then Buck Rogers, and each of these is a little individual story. As they said, this looks like Tintin here, and it's kind of cool. Some of them do it more in like a text-centric type mode. Some do it in a strict comic mode. This, for example, is a Popeye piece that is done manga style. And then you've got, Johnny Noir, which is obviously Dick Tracy. And the neat thing is that on every single page, they do have a quick little discussion of what happened. So like here, October 4th, 1931, cartoonist Chester Gould's famous crime comic strip, Dick Tracy, is first published in the Detroit newspaper, the Daily Mirror. And then you've got one here for the 1930s, talking about radio, and it goes on and on. But there's some really nice artwork done in here. And it goes all over the place. This is the invention of Superman, and they use this as like a stand-in for the Superman character. And then they do a bit about the invention of Batman, the invention of the Human Torch in Marvel Comics, the Spirit. So the characters aren't exactly the same, but anybody who knows comics, even at a basic level, knows what we're talking about here. Carrie Callan, who is a fantastic artist on Mad Magazine, and he's just a legend in social media. He did that page. This page is about Archie. Oh, this was the Shazam Superman lawsuit between National Comics and Fawcett Comics. But it just goes on and on. There's Wonder Woman, and of course they're talking about the polyamorous relationship that William Moulton Marston had. He liked his ladies. A little bit about Peanuts here. Of course, renamed Chestnuts. Frederick Wortham, talking about setting up the code, the comics code, which many people argue infantilized the world of comics in the United States. Neat piece on Ditko here. I love how he's just kind of in his own little closet doing his thing. If you've seen any documentary on Ditko, you know that he didn't have much more than that, but he just plugged away for all those years. Yeah, Black Panther. Oh, when Mort Weisinger brought teenage Jim Shooter into DC Comics to start working on Legion of Superheroes. It just goes on and on. A little bit about Steranko. The New Gods. What's this one? Oh, Conan. So these are neat. And the art really is pretty good across the board. Some of them are different. I mean, this is a piece about Garfield, so obviously you want to mess with the Garfield style. This, of course, is about Life in Hell, the Matt Groening piece. 2000 AD. So it's fun. I like it a lot. Art Spiegelman's Raw. Nice little tribute here to Mobius in the in call. Oh, that's a Love and Rockets reference. Calvin and Hobbes. Of course, they turn Calvin into a girl here, but I mean, you can tell. Dark Knight Returns. The Tick. Watchmen. I love how they insert Alan Moore. In fact, this might be my favorite page, so I'm going to read this one to you. It says, it is the mid-50s. Comic books are dying. It is the late 70s. Comic books are dying. It is the late 90s, or the mid-90s. Comic books are dying. So you got the Comic Code Authority, the bankruptcy of the different companies, the glut of the 90s. It is the early 2020s. Comic books are dying with digital. It is now. I am tired of waiting for comic books to die. I am going to see how they live. And it's Alan Moore, of course, and he disappears. So, I mean, that's a really creative use of the theme of the book as well as the tropes of Watchmen. I thought that was really good. Sandman, Spider-Man 1, Bone. I mean, they go through pretty much everything. X-Men 1, look what they're chasing after. Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics, Youngblood. I mean, it just goes on and on. Vertigo, Milestone, Marvel filing for Chapter 11, The Authority, the death of the Comics Code Authority when everybody abandoned it, Invincible, Captain Marvel by Kelly Sue DeConnick, Dogman, COVID, look at that, Forever Comics, March 23rd, 2020, the COVID pandemic forces the comic book industry to temporarily shut down and people are asked to isolate. Huh. And then, of course, you got your mail, you got your afterword, and then he's got the director's commentary. And so he takes all of his different pieces and explains a little of the background behind each one. And then he does a little bit about each of the artists. And to his credit, he put social media links for every single artist on here. And I can see this being a bit of a showcase piece for many of the artists, and then some advertising and signatures. High quality book, paperback, nice matte cover. The print job was a little bit off for me. This tab here was folded in, and so the cut isn't perfect, but you know, life goes on. I like it a lot. It's a neat book. The graphic design is a little bit, I don't know, what's the right word, amateurish, but the content of the book itself is amazing. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of Sothart's graphic design. It's very simple, but nice looking book. A lot of stuff in here, just kind of gives you the overview. He doesn't really talk about comics actually dying. It is a celebration of the industry, and it's a good time. So I'd recommend this. I'm going to try to find a link for you so that you can grab a copy of it yourself. Comics Are Dying, The Comic, A Brief History of the Comic Book Industry. So that's all for today. I thank you for watching. Make sure you tune in next time, and we'll take a look at some more comics. Have a good one, everybody.